I want to get to the contempt situation with Attorney General Merrick Garland. This kind of has been dormant in Congress for some time. You guys at the Freedom Caucus have kind of reignited this. Walk us through what this whole thing means.
Well, you've got an attorney general who's willing to abuse power, not only to go after political opponents, chief of whom, of course, is President Trump, standing in the gap between an abusive Biden administration and the American people. They know he's going to be president. They know he's the Republican nominee, obviously. He's going to win in November. They can't beat him, so they want to try to put him in jail. And as President Trump often says, they're really after all of us, conservatives, patriots, constitutionalists, and so forth. So you've got an attorney general who is abusing that power, but also someone who thinks that he shouldn't be answerable to the American people's representatives, the House of Representatives, which is appropriately to provide oversight and accountability and transparency for the executive branch. And he thinks that he's above the law. He thinks that his Department of Injustice, the DOIJ, as I call it, is above the law, doesn't have to answer to Congress. But the Freedom Caucus really are the leaders on the Judiciary Committee. You've got Jim Jordan, Andy Biggs, Chip Roy, individuals like that, Matt Gaetz, and so forth. And we're going to do our best to hold him accountable. He's going to try to resist appearing, as you know, but we're going to continue to press our members on the judiciary to try to bring him in.
Congressman Bob Good with us. Bob, tell us about the poison pill that Democrats and some Republicans are trying to put into Congress now, into the House now, that would handcuff President Trump from getting anything done in his first 12 months or certainly his first 100 days. What is that? What are they doing?
I think you might be referring to the budget process, the appropriations process.
Yes.
John, what we're calling for is a 6-month CR, continuing resolution. Now, you and I both hate CRs, but probably the least bad thing we could do is to continue where we are right now for another 6 months into a new administration, hopefully a new Republican Senate, and hopefully an expanded Republican House, so that the people's will is reflected in how the government is funded next year. We're obviously going to have an election in November. The American people are going to have a decision. Do they want to go back to pro-growth Trump policies and low inflation and low taxes and low regulation and cheap, plentiful energy, or do they want to continue the suffering that they've endured over the last 3.5 years? I think they're going to make the right decision in November and go with President Trump. So what we don't want to do, John, here's the danger, here's the fear, and you're going to have squish Republicans, and I'll say like those supporting my opponent, by the way, you're going to have squish RINO establishment Republicans join with Democrats and try to pass a Christmas omnibus. And they're going to couch it by saying, let's clear the decks, let's clean out the barn, let's not shackle the new administration, the new Congress with having to right away deal with the funding of the government. Let's just go ahead and fund it for another year. And what that would mean, John, is President Trump and Republicans in the House and the Senate, if we have control, wouldn't be able to impact the funding of the government until October 1. So we would essentially lose most of President Trump's first year in terms of impacting the spending and the policies. And then, as you know, not long after that, you go into an election year. So the first year is critical. 25 is critical. 26 becomes an election year when Congress members get scared about their reelection. So the year for us to do something is that first 100 days, that first year of President Trump's term. So we need to do a continuing resolution and just extend the spending levels and the policies for another 6 months so that we can change it come end of March.